You're live. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of D. Haynes and Doc Fantasy Sports Podcast. We are here live today with a quick show just to go over some waiver wire picks for Week 13 and who we think you guys should be looking at. And have any questions? Ask away. Doc, who do you have for your first waiver pick?
Yeah, so we'll just go right in. Let's go right into
We'll go right in.
wires. Be a quick show. So my first waiver wire pick, someone who's only rostered 53%. I'm actually kind of surprised. That's Russell Wilson. And so Russell Wilson, I get it. Like he hasn't had crazy fantasy value. I think he had 20 fantasy points only once, and that was in about week 4, I think it was.
Yep.
But if you look at his upcoming schedule, which is Texans, Chargers, Lions, Patriots, Chargers after that, it's like 25th in rank, 32nd in rank, 28th in rank. So they have a great schedule coming up, and they actually have won 5 games in a row. And so they're one of 4 teams to be undefeated in November. So they are doing fantastic. They're doing great, and Russell Wilson, I think, will see some good fantasy value moving forward. You can expect good fantasy value for everyone that benefits from that as well. Jerry Jeudy, Javonte Williams, everyone will kind of benefit from that good schedule coming up, and I think the Broncos are a lock for playoffs.
It's a good possibility, and it's weird to say that after they started the season 1-5. But yeah, I mean, Russell Wilson, I think, is a great pickup for you guys. It surprised the roster percentage is kind of down as how the Broncos have been progressing as of late. I know his performance wasn't top notch this week, but it's also against a stellar Browns defense that he actually was able to cook up against. Throw no interceptions as well, which is remarkable. So he did have a fumble, but pressure is going to be there. It's going to be applied. But I think he had a great game, and I do truly believe that he will be having some great games coming later on down the road. Yeah, we'll jump into one of my favorite waiver wires pickups that I have for you guys this week, and that would be Jordan Love. This man is only rostered 48% in leagues. If you guys did watch the Lions game Thursday on Turkey Day, then you would know that this man had a great performance. 26 fantasy points, 268 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions against a physical Lions defense. Now, I will say the Lions did not come to play this week. They looked pretty bad, especially after what their record is. But Green Bay is coming back like they did last year at the end of the year and trying to make a playoff run. And Jordan Love right now is compared to Rodgers' numbers early on in his career. And he's definitely has those wide receiver group now that are finally, I think, becoming used to each other. And Jaden Reed and Christian Watson, as well as Dobbs. So, I mean, I feel like these guys are clicking at the right time. Unfortunately, I'm not a big Packers fan, so it's kind of iffy on my part. But this guy is definitely the one to look out when the year keeps going.
Yeah, I completely agree. And if you listen to our last show, we kind of touched on the Packers a little bit. He's neck and neck with Aaron Rodgers beginning his career. So it's actually good to see, and he's coming back, and I think they're going to make the playoffs, man. It's scary, but the Packers always find a way. It looks like they're still going to, even with Jordan Love. So I am kind of excited to see him play a little bit. And,
I don't mind him. I don't mind him. Not being a Packers fan, I don't mind Jordan Love.
Yeah. Moving into my second, I have 25% rostered Keaton Mitchell. So if you watch the Baltimore Ravens game, which I had on, and I love the Ravens. I do. I think they're a great team, and I actually hope they're the team in the Super Bowl for that side. I really do. I hope the Ravens make it all the way. Screw all the other teams. I love the Ravens. I love how they play. I love that Lamar Jackson is still the leading rusher on that team.
Yeah.
And he's having a great season. apart from his 2019 MVP season, he's had one of the best seasons he's had. And he put on a lot of weight too.
Yeah.
With that all being said, let's go back to Keaton Mitchell. Keaton Mitchell, if you watch the game, only had 11 touches and made 89 yards out of that. Granted, Gus Edwards, I believe, is the best back on the team. But a lot of people are saying Keaton Mitchell might be. They're saying that Keaton Mitchell might be better than Gus Edwards. And with Mark Andrews being out, they're spreading that offense around. I think they should give him at least 15 touches, Keaton Mitchell, this next game, because he is explosive, and he very well might be the best back on the entire team.
He's so fast. So fast.
He's incredible.
He's tall or small and fast.
And after this year, if he does not get the starting role with the Ravens, I think he needs to move teams because he could get a bag. He could get a bag, and he could start for his first majority of teams.
Yep. Yeah, well, I mean, you were comparing him to Gus Edwards, and I mean, Mitchell had more fantasy points than him this week against the Chargers. So,
and he's only 25% rostered, so go out and get him and put him on the bench at least.
Crazy quick.
Hold on to him for playoffs coming up.
Yep. All right, here's a waiver wire pick that I have. That's actually I like talking about this guy because he was on the Tennessee Volunteers last year and won the what's the award called when you the wide receiver of the year award? I don't remember what it's called, but he won it in college. Jalen Hyatt finally is being recognized. Finally had his blowout game. This man did it all this weekend. If I can actually, there we go. So 5 receptions for 109 yards receiving. He averaged 21.8 per catch, guys. Targeted 6 times, so he hauled in almost every single one he had thrown to him. Had 16 fantasy points. So I think this is finally his breakout game. Hopefully he can get more involved moving forward because Giants, they need everything that they can get right now in talent like Hyatt because he is young and he's fresh. Might as well get him to the system right now, get those targets going so he can improve for next year's season and be a force to be reckoned with because I think truly that he has the capability to be a good good wide receiver in this league. So keep an eye on him. If you're in big leagues, it might be a flex option here and there. I wouldn't add him yet. I'd give him a couple more, maybe 1 or 2 more games if you're going to do that. But with this performance he had this past week, I'd definitely look into him going forward.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have much to add for him. Moves into my third and last waiver wire. 0.1% rostered. 0.1. Greg Dortch of the Arizona Cardinals. If you've watched him the last couple games after Kyler Murray's return, he's actually gotten 17 targets in those 2 games. So, as we always talk about on this channel, you should target high targets.
Yep.
And 17 is a lot. He's on par with Marquise Brown for that team, actually. So those are crazy numbers for someone that's 0.1% rostered. I'm not saying that you go out and you put him on your starting lineup. But this is a guy that you at least bench. You need to pick him up off the waiver wire because he's got a ton more value than those other people just sitting there. And with Kyler Murray, I mean, Kyler Murray's a fantasy-relevant quarterback. He gets 20 points per game, and I believe you sat him for Patrick Mahomes. Or you started him over Patrick Mahomes.
I started him over Mahomes, yep.
Which was a 0.4 mistake, but that's minimal.
Yeah, 0.4.
0.4. I think Patrick Mahomes got 20.8. He got 20.4.
Yeah, so, nothing to worry about. Yeah.
No, nothing to worry about. But crazy that you did that. But no, Greg Dortch having 17 targets is amazing. And he's had over the last 2 weeks, he's had 25.3 points in total. So it's nothing to scoff at. And like I said, with Kyler Murray being fantasy relevant, he's going to get the ball. He's going to get those targets. And they actually play the Eagles, which sounds scary. Sounds scary, playing the Eagles, one of the best teams. However, the Eagles allow the most fantasy points to wideouts. They're the worst.
Yep.
They allow the most points. And if you watch the Bills game, that is the Eagles' biggest flaw, and it's going to cost them a Super Bowl again. Their record does not show necessarily their skill. I think Jalen Hurts is amazing at getting down the field, and he's holding their defense on. Can't run the ball against the Eagles, however, you can throw it. And so with Greg Dortch going up against that kind of team being the worst to fantasy points for wideouts, it's worth a flex conversation if you have no one else.
Yep. Yeah, and I know you mentioned Marquise Brown in that conversation too, and I'm glad that man proved me wrong this weekend. So I'm happy for it. I'm here for it.
We proved you wrong. I said, if you remember from that show,
I'm just happy either way, man. That guy needed, if that offense, the only way they're gonna win, Marquise Brown, Murray, McBride, and Connor need to have offensive input because their defense is that bad.
Yeah, and we talked about the fact that when we say start them, we never miss, and so Adam Thielen going 1 reception for 2 yards was great for me. So
yeah. we're all there every now and then, so it's all good.
Yeah.
All right, for my last waiver pickup, Pat Freiermuth, right? Did I get it right? Freiermuth. Yeah, hey, look at that, guys. I knew I was going to have some issues with that. I knew I was going to have issues with that, guys. It's all right. 9 receptions for 120 yards receiving this past week against the Cincinnati Bengals on 11 targets, 21 fantasy points. This man, I could actually say he's finally back after being down and injured for I think the whole season with a hamstring almost. He's finally back, and it's looking promising now for honestly any Steelers right now. Do it on the run game or on the tight end thing aside, but Deontay Johnson on the other hand, I don't know if you saw that, but he looked kind of rough this past weekend. But yeah, look out for Pat, especially if you need a tight end for those people that lost Mark Andrews or didn't get lucky enough to get Likely. Here's another tight end that is possibly open because, I mean, he just came off the IR not too long ago, and he's only rostered in 42% of leagues. So get this man if you need a tight end ASAP.
Yeah, and if you've watched the Steelers over the last 3-4 years under the Matt Canada era, Matt Canada only throws the ball outside the numbers. He only throws peripherally. And he actually never had a game over 400 yards.
Yep.
One game.
Oh, I can hear you. Yes, I can.
About thing again.
There you go. You're back on.
Yeah, so like I was saying, one game removed from Matt Canada's firing. Matt Canada is sitting at home on his couch hoping that the Steelers do terrible. And what do? They put up 400 yards. And one of the biggest reasons is that they threw inside the numbers.
Yep. So
if you watched the tight ends, they use their tight ends like crazy, and they would just run a streak down the middle with Pat Freiermuth. And the team that they played was like, what the hell? This wasn't in film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this doesn't happen. So they had amazing opportunities for yards, and it's just going to continue because they're opening up opportunities for people on the team. So the Steelers are going to be good going forward, actually. Yeah, and they play against, say, Arizona Cardinals team next week, or this upcoming week. So it will be your favorite team. So. Oh yeah, totally. But no, other than that, guys, if you guys are watching live, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask away. We'll give about 30 seconds for these questions. Other than that, we'll probably wrap it up. It was supposed to be a quick show this week or today, just to do a little bit of waiver wire checkup. But we'll be back here Saturday for a NBA stream. And then this week we are going to be doing our sit-ems, our stardoms, and our sleepers, and our Sunday picks on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. So look for that as well. But other than that, have no other questions. Feel free to subscribe.
get the notifications as well. So you have time to watch. Other than that,
I think
guys,
the only other thing is just to point out the fact that I'm now 3-0-1.
Oh yeah, here we go.
I think we got to point that out.
Oh,
So I won this week on our picks. So just want to throw that out there, undefeated. So
see what I have to deal with, guys. See what I have to deal with.
I just want to make sure it was said before we left. You know.
Yeah. I'd be the same way if I was the other way around. I can't deny it. So
yeah, but you're not. So
I know.
I had to throw it in there.
There's still time, guys. There's still time.
There's not. No.
Other than that, we'll see you guys Saturday and on our NBA podcast. Until then, guys, deuces.